with a deep passion for creating impact across multiple sectors such as digital marketing, edtech, and the paper and printing industry. Rohit has successfully bootstrapped and scaled several businesses to profitability, all while staying committed to social causes like education, youth empowerment, and women empowerment. Through his venture, he aims to foster growth and contribute to building a better and a more empowered world. We are grateful for all of your present speakers and we eagerly anticipate your valuable insights and contributions to today's conference. We would also like to inform all the attendees that the HR team will be conducting polls throughout the session in the chat box. We expect you to actively participate in them. And I would like to again extend a warm welcome and request all the attendees and speakers who have just joined us now to kindly switch on your webcams and keep your audios off throughout the session and help us in ensuring an engaging and a lively session. Sure. So moving ahead, I would like to invite Mr. Aditya Purohit to share his perspectives with all of us.
Yeah, thank you. The little correction will be I am not Chief Information Officer. I am a Chief Investment Officer. So that's that. And I'll just quickly share my screen. Let me know if you can see it. Yeah, is it visible? Yeah, so everybody can see my scene, I believe. Perfect, perfect. Okay, so let me introduce myself. My name is Aditya Purohit, and I work as Chief Investment Officer at a bootstrap startup, which I, with my brother Rohit Purohit, started 2.5 years back. I was just fresh out of college, and then with my brother, started finding new ways to, do some digital construction. By digital construction, we mean to help and simplify the whole uh, construction process in the States. We predominantly work in USA, Canada, UK, and Australia. So to start with the today's session, first of all, thanks for the team for organizing such an amazing event and allowing me to speak my 2 cents on this topic. I'll keep it in English so that everyone suits it. Uh, Whenever we hear the word crowdfunding, everyone seems to have a understanding, okay, some funding from the crowd. So what is the crowd which we are going to cater to? Okay, it's very important to understand the actual crowd which we are going to, and then having money from them, right? So no doubt that it has helped many startups in whatsoever manners it has. But the only thing which I would want to give importance to is that you have to have a greater understanding of the actual crowd from which you are going to raise funds. Otherwise it will be a headache for you after raising the funds, which I will eventually explain. So as you can already see that this presentation will be focused towards how crowdfunding changes the game for startup, okay? And how it is important to not only do a startup but also to build community, do networking, how you can avoid doing fundraising and do networking, and why it is important to understand the difference between the two. So to explain further, I'll just skip this. Yeah. So understanding crowdfunding. Okay. Funding versus networking. Okay. So what is funding and what is networking? So funding is something which says that, okay, I need money for doing XYZ purpose. I need money to survive, to scale my business, right? And networking on the other hand is, I want to sit on some of the tables which it will be beneficial for me or my company to have a better access to resources, community, so that every little bits of their insights can be accessible to me and my startup. So do you need funding? First of all, I believe if you need funding, you should have a basic sense के अच्छा मुझे पैसे चाहिए, but why cannot I raise money after selling the product or the services, whatever the case may be. I believe anything which is not sellable should not be investable. Okay, a business needs to have a proper sale in order to have a investor's interest. Otherwise, what an investor is looking, okay, I have XYZ amount of money, I'll just use it and then pour it to a brick and mortar shop and then let's see how it goes. He does not require that money. So as an investor, I'm not looking forward to have a better prospects of that money. That is the only reason I'm investing in a startup which is not earning which is not selling, like which is not cash flow generating in simpler terms. So I believe a business should not focus on raising funds and the achieving of XYZ valuation. We see that many businesses have become a unicorn and like some XYZ valuation at they have raised funds for that and they've exited. It's all good and it's nice. I believe it's nice. What a real business should have, it should have a solid real revenue, and most importantly, out of that revenue, it should have a free cash flow. If you have a free cash flow and it's generating money, it is not going to need external capital. By free cash flow, I mean that I understand that in the beginning it will be very tough to have a free cash flow or in fact sales. But if you are good in networking, if you know how to do marketing and all, you will be able to sell your product. And then after asking the actual questionnaires to the customers, then you will understand the product market fit. You do not need crowdfunding for that to understand that whether my product is fit for the market or not. It's possible. Many have raised funds. They have over the decade long of existence have tried to make figure out the product market fit. But I believe that it is not something we should chase predominantly. We should try doing some things. If it is working, it's good. If it is not working, we should pivot. And then again, a free cash flow generating business is always lucrative to the investor, and he or she will be more interested and less worried about his money. So it should the focus should not be on raising funds externally. It should be on sales, building your network, generating free cash flow, and a sustainable and scalable model. So next, like if you have figured out that okay, I understand the difference between the funding and the networking part. I believe that my product have some of the like some sales and all, but I do need money. I am not from a technical background, but I do need money to build a website, to build a maybe let's say marketing campaign, to create reels on the social media platforms and leverage the ads and all stuff. It's good, but do ask one question to yourself whether you have exhausted all the free available resources, AI resources on the internet. Have you used it to their full potential? If yes, good, kudos to you. You are good to raise funds. If the sales are not enough for you, please go ahead and raise funds from external investors, maybe debt equity, and there are lots of other ways to generate and like raise funds to make you a better businessman. It is like I'll try to give you a story. Like what is the difference between a good businessman and a great businessman? Okay, so everybody please cope with me, right? So I'll start by asking a question. The basic premise is there are two businessmen. One is Ambani and the next one is Bambani. Okay, so both businessmen are great. They have a same aim of creating something good and scaling their business in a great manner, and all things is same. Just one difference: Ambani has lots of money, Bambani does not. So Ambani always focuses on getting the outcome by spending the money because he has it. Okay, but Bambani what he does? he takes time to create that outcome from the scenario, but at the same time he is the most he finds the most efficient way in doing so. So what, according to the audience, I would like anybody from your from the audience to answer this: who is better, Ambani or Bambani? Can anybody answer? Hello. Hello, am
Bambani.
I audible?
Yeah, you're audible. Bambani.
Yeah, your responses are in the chat box, Aditya.
Yeah, yeah.
Six
Oh,
people have
so
voted for Bamba.
Bambani. Oh, so sorry, I could not see the chat box. It's a dual screen monitor.
No issues
Pardon
at
me.
all. No issues.
Okay. So I guess the answer was Bambani, right? I'm assuming.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So thank you. So everyone, like those who have answered, says Bambani is the better person or a better businessman. So understand one thing: if a person can bring the same output even after certain delay, okay, and he has not spent thousands and like lakhs and crores of rupees, then it does not make Ambani a better businessman because just because he has money. So raising funds it's very lucrative, very easy. You can spend someone's money and then have great output faster. But on the other hand, can you, without the money, build the same outcome with some delay or maybe using the free resources? As I've already mentioned, have you used the full potential of the free available resources on the internet and the AI? Today, we always have a uh, every AI resources available at our fingertips. So, have you used it first? So you have to have a web presence, and like the slide says, AI tools and Salesforce. I've already given emphasis, importance on how both Ambani and Bambani can give you the same output. But what differentiate Bambani from Ambani is that Bambani does it in the more efficient manner and without burning a lot of money. So please focus on that first. Even after understanding that Bambani is better, and many, I believe personally, many of the situation will not require XYZ amount of money. Just people spend it because they have it and the investor wants to know what happened with their money. So what they do, they just create an expense sheet and then submit it to the investor. So look, we have spent XYZ amount of money to the marketing team, as per the marketing team, as per the ad generation, falana dhamkana, and then what they tell investor is that this will bring the sales. I don't believe this will solely bring the sales. The product should bring the sales. The marketing should be the introduction part of the product. The product itself sells. If the product is great, if the service is great, it will create inbound leads. I hope you can find what inbound lead is. I will not go to that. It will shift our focus from the topic. So even after utilizing all the, now what you have done, you have understanding the difference between the funding and the networking part. You have also understanding you have understood the difference between how Ambani and Bambani works. Okay, so even after concluding that Bambani is a greater businessman or a more efficient businessman, better businessman, you still feel the need of raising funds, which is not bad. It is not a taboo matter. So what you should be prepared for, the topic is the impact of crowdfunding on startups. So what impact it will create on this startup? It will create a pressurized situation for the founding team and the management team, because they will constantly need to update their investors, because they will be worried about it. And if you look at the scenario in India, it is not very talked about topic to raise funds. Only a relative like a community fundraise we have seen, or maybe not for specifically startups or creating business. We have a community scholarship for children's going abroad, that too not very helpful in my opinion. So what you should be prepared for, you should be prepared for having a full transparent model in your business. Otherwise your investor will feel cheated, or maybe will bother you more just because he is clueless whether the business he invested in is doing good or not. The communication part, I always speak like communication is key to every relationship. So everyone who is communicative about their thoughts about the process to the other party, it will make things 10 times easier, if not more. And obviously you have to deliver results. The the delivering results part is, it does comes with a little terms and conditions which is not visible in the slides, because again this terms and conditions is will not be visible. A business should not be working for the sake of only investors money or investors perspective or if investors preferences. As we have all seen, like the customer is the king in the business, right? But to like give you my opinion on it, I believe if customer is the king, the queen is the investor. Okay, so everyone knows that in a household you have parents, like, so if king is happy, it's good, no worries, happy king. But if king queen is not happy, it does not matter whether king is happy or not. So it's very important to keep your queen happy, the investor happy, and then focus on the king. And when you raise funds, okay, after you have raised funds, so this is the I believe very important impact which a startup will have to deal with after raising funds from the crowd. And then uh, I bless that everyone who will raise funds from the crowd have the crowd should be not एकदम blank नहीं होना चाहिए वो. Otherwise what will happen, एक तो उनको पता नहीं है कि ये कैसे वर्क करता है, स्टार्टअप इकोसिस्टम बहुत ऐसा वॉलेटाइल होता है. दूसरा, उनको बहुत सारे आंसर्स चाहिए क्योंकि पैसा उनका लगा है. तीसरी चीज, आंसर मिलने के बाद में भी दे विल नॉट बी एबल टू cope with the growth or the aim or the vision of the founding team, right? So it's very important to understand whether the money is required or not, whether you can do it without raising external capital. And then even if you want to raise fund, these are the as per my opinion impacts, lots of more impact from this, but given the time frame, I believe that these are the crucial impacts which a startup might have to face. So I am okay. Yeah, I am open for question and answers. Thank you for the time here. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Aditya, for your insightful speech. Although we can entertain questions, but we have some time constraints, I would like to request you to please share your email ID in the chat box, so that if any of our audience has any questions, they can directly reach out to you.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. Have a So now moving ahead, let's welcome our next speaker for today. Now, who is none other than Mr. Shivam Dixit, and I would like to request him to commence his speech and share his insight with all of us.
Thank you, Mr. Shravan. Thank you, everyone, for this beautiful event, and I again welcome everybody for this conference on crowdfunding and its impact on startup financing. Just a quick question to start with. Next 15 minutes. Before I give my introduction, in the meanwhile, you can type it in the chat box. How many of you are here for actually to understand the concept of funding, or you want to invest, or you want to raise fund? Just want to quickly know like the purpose of the participants who are in the session today. Quickly, if you can write in the chat box one or two liner, one word or two word, that will be very helpful for me. Okay, so before I start, I am Shivam Dixit. I'm the co-founder of Council India. Started this company in 2016 with a very unique vision of pushing the mental health ecosystem in India. And this is one of the most needed, I feel, in today's world. One of the most needed and one of the most left out industry that people would want to talk about is mental health. When we started in 2016, we were labeled as Pagloge doctor, but slowly and gradually after COVID, things changed. And then with a lot of scope, a lot of support from government, a lot of support from people who started understanding the importance of mental health in COVID, and especially when the suicide happened for Sushant Singh Rajput. After that, a sudden transformation came into the ecosystem, and a lot of requirement of counselors, psychologists, people with mental health who need mental health support. They started coming into the market. Requirements suddenly they just shoot up. So let me just read. Want to know how crowdfunding helps a business to grow? I want to learn about investing or understanding and learning. Want to learn about investing. Okay, great. So I got the insight. So I'll be talking about an industry of mental health. I'll be talking about a quick example of Council India, that how we built this particular venture without any funding, and today valued as somewhere between 70 to 80 CR the valuation. And last year we closed the annual turnover of somewhere between 28 to 35 CR without any fundraising, without any external loan support or anything. And I'll be sharing a quick story of that, because as my previous guest was sharing about Ambani and Bambani, so a lot of philosophy has been done. I don't want to repeat the same content and want to bore you guys. I want the next 15 minutes should be engaging, interactive, fun, some interesting stuff, so that at least you should remember me after this 15 minutes, that I have added some value to your life. So that's the purpose. Okay. So see, a lot of people say that when we raise funding, or when we want to raise funding as a company or as an entrepreneur, so nowadays, especially in India, this has become a very I would say a kind of a cult कि मैंने फंड रेज किया, मतलब मैंने फंड रेज किया, वो मैंने इतना का वैल्यूएशन कर दिया, 100 करोड़ के ऊपर का वैल्यूएशन हो गया, 500 करोड़ के ऊपर का वैल्यूएशन हो गया. तो एक ना फैंसी टर्म बन गया. इवन नाउ डेज ना लॉट ऑफ पीपल लव कॉलिंग देमसेल्फ अ फाउंडर, को फाउंडर, सीईओ, सीएक्सओ. तो ये सारे ना एक टर्म अब थोड़ा आ गया है, वो मतलब सेल्फ डिपेंडेंट, हैविंग आवर ओन वेंचर, everything is fine. But when we talk about the other side of the coin, the ground reality, when it comes for hard work, pain, commitment, dedication, sweat, blood, what not, so that was जब थोड़ा सा फिर लोग धीरे 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 पीछे हटने लगते हैं, राइट. सो इट इज नॉट जस्ट कि मुझे फंड उठाना है और मुझे वेंचर बिल्ड करना है. मे बी आई वुड नॉट से कि फंडिंग सही है या गलत है, आई वुड नॉट लेबल दैट. बट येस, आई वुड से अगर जरूरत है तो उठाना सही है, अगर जरूरत नहीं है तो बिना बात के देयर इज नो, इन हिंदी वी से ना, बिना बात के हवाबाजी की जरूरत नहीं है, राइट. So the if it is needed, if you know that your product has a lot of potential and you have a proper plan for society, or I would say mostly the funding should be dependent on the kind of problem statement. If you are able to analyze the problem and you have a proper plan of solution and you have a financial crunch, then you should go for a funding. Otherwise, if things are going on track, why इवन इफ इट इज फंडिंग, अगर हम हिंदी में बोलें तो एक तरीके से वो लोन ही है ना. आप दूसरे का पैसा लेके और खुद से बिल्ड कर रहे हो, फिर आप रिटर्न करोगे. तो अगर एक सिंपल धंधे वाले की लैंग्वेज में बोलेंगे तो ब्याज पे पैसा आप उठा रहे हो, कभी ना कभी रिटर्न करोगे. तो किसी से 10 रुपया लिया तो 10 तो वापस नहीं करोगे, कुछ तो बढ़ा के वापस दोगे ना उसे. एंड दैट इज द रीजन व्हाई द पर्सन विल इन्वेस्ट इन यू. सो व्हाई टू गिव समबडी एक्स्ट्रा. अगर आपकी गाड़ी चल रही है, इफ यू आर ऑन अ गुड ट्रैक. For example, in 2016, when we started Council India, so we started with a mind power training program, a kind of a simple small program where we used to visit schools and colleges and teach people that how mental health works, what is the importance of mental health, and people used to pay us for that, right? Then slowly and gradually we understand that India need a lot of mental health counselors. So before I tell this quick fact to you, I want to understand, I want to know that do you guys know mental health? Yes or no in the chat box. बाकी सबने कैमरे भी बंद कर लिए कि I was listening to the host in the starting. We have to keep the camera on and the audio off. But people has thought कि maybe the host was telling you have to keep a camera and video both off. Okay, yes. So there are good amount of people who know about mental health. That's great, amazing. So when we started this particular company in 2016, so you'll not believe we never started with a vision to raise funding or maybe crowdfunding or seed funding or any kind of VC funding or angel funding. We that those thoughts were not in the mind. Nowadays, when I go to universities and college, a live example I'll tell you, a second year student of one of the university, OP Jindal University. So that student has raised 2 CR of funding for an NGO. Second year student 2 CR का फंडिंग रेस किया है फॉर एन एनजीओ. सो आजकल तो ये हो गया है कि मतलब द मोमेंट यू स्टार्ट समथिंग, यू स्टार्ट थिंकिंग कि मुझे फंड रेस करना है. वो एक माइंडसेट बन गया है, वो एक हवा लहर सी ऐसी आ गई है. बट व्हेन वी स्टार्टेड इन 2016 ऐसा कोई थॉट नहीं था. एंड our only purpose or our only core purpose was to serve people with mental health, with depression, stress, anxiety, anger, parenting problem, family issues, relationship issues. This was the core problem that we were thinking in those days. But when we entered the market, there were a lot of time when we used to visit schools और गेट से ही ना वो चौकीदार भगा देता था कि भाग जाओ यहाँ से, यहाँ पे आना मत तुम लोग, क्योंकि प्रिंसिपल्स were not ready to understand about mental health. आपको याद होगा कि मोस्टली स्कूल्स में एक फिजिकल एजुकेशन टीचर होता था, वही टीचर भी है, वही काउंसलर भी है, वही बच्चों का मेंटर भी है, वही उनको डांटता भी है, पीटी भी कराता है. ही इज ऑल राउंडर. 90% of the schools were having physical education teacher as a counselor only. But now a lot of changes have come. Even government have implemented a lot of policies. So that was the phase that we have seen. And 2018 we realized one thing, कि India need 47 lakh counselors. 47 lakh counselors की need है इंडिया को. But we again thought कि let's raise funding, and even we got a chance, we got an opportunity in 2018 from Singapore that there was a guy who was ready to invest. But that was the time when we thought कि we will take money and we have to give the money back. And that too with a lot of good amount of return. So let's suppose that person was willing to pay me an X amount, I have to pay him X plus a lot of other component added to that. So we were not ready, and we thought ki no, we'll not go with this plan. Let us build something at our own. Let us have a plan. Let us first try implementing our own plan. Let us see that how we fail. Let us see what kind of lessons we get from the market, and then we'll explore this new opportunity of funding. So we rejected that funding. And in the same way, even nowadays, I would suggest the people who start their ventures, from the day one, don't have this philosophy that I'll be raising a fund and I'll just boom the market. Even after funding, 99% of startups are failing, even after funding. You might have remember a brand called as Food Panda, even before Zomato. I'm talking a very old brand, Food Panda. I'm not sure how many of you remember that brand. That brand came up with a lot of fund, and it was serving in the same segment where Zomato is working. But where is Food Panda now? Nobody knows. So there are a lot of other examples which would validate that just bringing fund with showing a very glamorous pitch deck to an investor, a good number of valuation, a P&L, and all the numbers, projections, you might get fund. But at the end of the day, you should have a mindset that you should be serving society with a vision, with a thought that you started a venture or you started a business. If you have that thought, आप पैसा लाओ ना लाओ वो एक बात की बात है, but you will be at that peace that whatever you are doing, you're doing it for the betterment of society and you're doing it good for yourself. रात में नींद आना भी जरूरी है. पता चला पैसा आपने उठा लिया बहुत सारा और अब हवा खराब है, हालत खराब है और आप रिटर्न ही नहीं कर पा रहे हो, तो ऐसे फंडिंग का भी कोई फायदा ही नहीं है, right? And crowdfunding comes with a lot of responsibility. Very well said by the fellow speaker who was mentioning. Crowdfunding is a very, very big responsibility. You just imagine keeping one person satisfied and keeping 100 people satisfied. Everybody should. It's somewhere like I always treat crowdfunding as like launching an IPO. It is not easy launching an IPO. What IPO में क्या होता है? A lot of people invest. Share market में क्या होता है? A lot of multiple people invest in a brand. Right? In the same way, even in the crowdfunding, a group of people invest in your brand, right? So if you have that much of confidence, if you have that much of transparency, if you have that kind of concrete planning that yes, I have this plan and these are my further steps, people will be satisfied. They will have the trust on you. आज अगर उन्होंने 1 रुपया लगाया तो कल 100 रुपया भी लगा देंगे, because the trust is built. But just imagine out of those 100 people, अगर एक भी नेगेटिव हुआ तो 1 person is enough to make other 99 नेगेटिव. वो कहते हैं ना, एक तालाब में एक मछली भी बाकी को खराब कर देती है. So how much difficult or stressful it will be for you to manage those 100 people. अब आप उस टाइम पे बिजनेस संभालोगे, अपने 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 कंपनी को संभालोगे, या उन 100 लोगों को संभालोगे जिसने आपको फंड दिया है, right? So this decision or the impact that mostly businesses they have when they raise crowdfunding is very challenging. I would say कि इतना स्ट्रेस जितना क्राउडफंडिंग में आता है, अगर आप उतना स्ट्रेस ले सकते हो, so it is better to change your plan, it is better to change your strategies and run your own business without any fund. क्योंकि अगर आप उस लेवल के स्ट्रेस तक जाके उसको हैंडल कर सकते हो तो बहुत अच्छी बात है कि आप खुद की स्ट्रेटजीज पे काम करके और अपना कुछ एक गोल सेट करो. इवन आई हैव सीन अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल, दे व्हेन दे स्टार्ट अ बिजनेस, मोस्ट ऑफ द बिजनेसेस दे स्टार्ट जस्ट सी बाय सीइंग कि यार मेरा वो दोस्त ऐसा कर रहा है, या फिर उसमें उस प्रोडक्ट में मार्जिन बहुत अच्छा है, या उसका होलसेल में प्रोडक्ट मैं कहीं से इकट्ठा उठा सकता हूँ एंड आई कैन सेल इट ऑन अ गुड मार्जिन, सो मेरा अच्छा पैसा बन जाएगा. बट इस तरीके के माइंडसेट से लॉन्ग टर्म बिजनेस बनना बहुत मुश्किल है. मैं बहुत ज्यादा फैंसी मैनेजमेंट की टर्म्स नहीं यूज कर रहा हूँ, बिकॉज मैं चाहता हूँ कि हर कोई जो भी चीजें हैं वो समझ पाए. तो बट अगर आपको ऐसा लगता है कि आपके हिसाब से जो बिजनेस आप ला रहे हो मार्केट में वो लोगों को पसंद आए, ऐसा जरूरी नहीं है. I have seen a lot of people, they actually do a lot of research on ground. They go into the local crowd, they sit with people, they make a list of problems, and then they find out something as a product or as a venture. एक साल 2 साल लग जाता है लोगों को ये समझने में कि क्या मेरा प्रोडक्ट होना चाहिए. और कुछ लोग वहीं सेम टाइम पे बस उनको क्विक कि मेरे तो डिजिटल मार्केटिंग बहुत अच्छा चल रहा है आजकल, मैं ले आऊंगा प्रोडक्ट और बस डिजिटल मार्केटिंग में तो हो जाएगा सब कुछ, क्योंकि आजकल नीड बहुत है, एआई की नीड बहुत है, एंड लेट मी स्टार्ट. सी इवन यू शुड हैव दैट एक्सपर्टीज इवन टू जज योर कस्टमर्स, योर टीम मेंबर्स, योर को-फाउंडर्स, योर फेलो CXOs. आपके अंदर वो स्किल भी तो होनी चाहिए ना. बिल्कुल ही जीरो स्किल से अगर आप कोई या जीरो नॉलेज से कोई बिजनेस स्टार्ट कर रहे हो तो अगेन इट इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू सस्टेन और टू गो फॉर अ लॉन्गर रन. स्टार्टिंग के 6-7 साल तो सही रहेगा सब कुछ, बट व्हेन यू रीच दैट हाइट देन यू विल अंडरस्टैंड द एंटायर वो पूरा डिप्लोमेसी, देन अदर pressure of other competitors, and competitor pressure is very very dangerous nowadays. आपने कोई चीज 100 रुपए की दी, बगल वाले ने 80 रुपए की दे दी, you are gone, है ना. फिर उसमें क्राउड फंडिंग क्या करेगी. So having a concrete plan, and one more thing that people are very rigid nowadays, they're not ready to change. So if you're not ready to change with a change, you will be dinosaurs. Dinosaurs means they were very strong, they were very rigid, but they were not ready to change with the environment and they vanished. So agar we are not ready to change with the change, we will be next dinosaurs, we'll also vanish, right? So I would say my conclusion here would be that yes, having a startup is a very good philosophy, is a very good thought that people think. Nowadays, even on the Startup India portal, I think there are somewhere around more than 4.5 lakh startups. I'm not getting the exact number, but yes, somewhere around 4.5 lakh startups which are registered on the this thing portal of startup. 5% startups only are able to become successful. The rest 95% are failing. So क्यों ऐसा हो रहा है? Like we should think 95% people are failing. Why? कुछ तो बात ऐसी होगी जो ये 95% लोग कैच नहीं कर पा रहे. And even that 5%, even that out of that 5%, there are very few who are able to sustain for 7 to 10 years. So it's a thought, and even I would say funding or crowdfunding or anything is not very easy. But yes, it's a big responsibility on your shoulders to keep the money of people safe and to give them a return that you have promised. This philosophy कि बस आ गया है पैसा, अब मैं गाड़ी ले लूँ, बंगला ले लूँ उस पैसे से और अपनी ऐशी करूँ, एंड देन बाद में मैं बोल दूंगा कि एक्सपेंस हो गया, लॉस हो गया. That philosophy is not going to work. Now, if you're really committed about your product, if you're really committed about the problem or solving people's problem, you should uh, go for crowdfunding. But again, I am a little anti funding person because मैंने खुद भी कभी फंड एक्सेप्ट नहीं किया. मैंने हमेशा ही अपने खुद के प्रोडक्ट्स को और उनको सही करके मार्केट को और ज़्यादा समझ के, इवन नाउ I hardly stay in office. I hardly stay in my cabin. I am always with my team or on ground or in visiting universities, colleges, meeting people. So that's my daily routine, because that actually gives me the actual problem which people are facing in the market, and then only I can give them solution. So that's a core strength that I believe. And here I end this conversation. So I didn't PPT.
Thank you, Mr. Shivam Dixit, for your wonderful speech and for sharing the tips and strategies for crowdfunding, as well as your advice on how and why not to crowdfund. Obviously, I would like to request you to share your email ID in the chat box for any queries that attendees might have due to time constraint.
I'll
Sure.
share. Okay,
Sure.
thank you.
If any of the audience has any queries, you can directly reach out to Mr. Dish.
Okay.
Moving on, let's invite CA Bharat Jeswani to share his insights with all of us.
It's coming out distorted. Can you just, your voice is coming out distorted.
Okay, is it clear right now?
No, it is distorted only.
Okay, I'll look into the voice. For now, Bharat, if you can just take over from here.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much for invite. Though I do realize that I am the most irrelevant speaker of all the speakers in this whole forum, because I work in the financial crime division, and that my experience has been only with frauds and money laundering and financial crime. So I won't be speaking as much. I'll be speaking very little, like 10 minutes. So I'll be talking about the frauds that are possible with crowdfunding, and so this my session would be more useful to the investors per se, somebody who would be interested in being a part of an investment wherein they would be crowdfunding it. So in that case, they should look for certain types of red flags that could be there that could affect the investment. So it's first of all, I'm not very much aware of what kind of crowdfunding regulation is there in India. As much I'm aware of, there is the most common type of crowdfunding that is happening in our country is donation based, wherein somebody is coming up with some kind of an idea, which in my experience is mostly the idea is something for the societal benefit, wherein you are looking for claiming that it will be for the societal benefit, and then you are taking funds from the people, of course sometimes playing with the emotion of empathy towards the society, and then maybe just not delivering, or maybe just running away from with the money. So that is one very common scheme that is possible. I think that is the only one specific scheme which is possible. So equity based crowdfunding is not allowed in India. You need to get a lot of SEBI licenses, SEBI compliance, which is currently not allowed. So when you talk about equity based crowdfunding, it is what we call an IPO. So otherwise you're not allowed to do a equity based crowdfunding. At the same time, even debt based crowdfunding is not allowed. You need to get an NBFC license. So there is, in my opinion, currently the landscape is very immature regarding. Rather, the investors are very much protected for time being, because most of the avenues are blocked for crowdfunding. So I'll talk about some common, type of fraud schemes. One is wherein the whole campaign is fraud, wherein you just create a product or a service and you try to play with people's emotion, wherein you try to tell them that this is going to be a product to invest in. And so there are two variations to this. One is where you talk about very big profits, so that you play with the greed of people, so they would want to invest in that product, and they find it very easy that, okay, you invest in this product directly and you get a good percentage of share, which will, the money will multiply very quickly. So that is just like a Ponzi scheme. Other than that, there is which is more common, which I've seen, is wherein you are talking about social benefit business, where you are trying to make money for the investors, and also at the same time you are doing the social good, which is again the very common theme for crowdfunding. So this is one very or are not, they do not have a bad intent. Not have a wrong intent.
Bharat, I think your voice is lagging. If you can just check your network once.
Do not have a fraudulent intent. It would be exaggerating, but probably it did not work out, and then they would just cancel misuse those funds. They would misappropriate those funds because it is not working out. So they would, instead of
Yeah, Bharat ji, your voice is lagging. If you can just check your network connection once, that would be a pleasure. Am I audible, Bharat ji? Saba Khan, if you're there, you can just drop a message to Bharat ji personally. Yeah.
Maybe you should log out and log in once again.
Yeah, Bharat ji, your voice is not audible. It's cracking. If you can just log out and log in once. Sure. Saba, if you can just communicate with Bharat ji once, it would be a pleasure.
I'll just
Sure. Okay. Until Bharat ji rejoins us, attendees.
I'll just change my network. Just a minute. I'll change my network.
Sure.
I'll just change my network. Just give me a second.
Sure.
Am I audible now?
Yeah, you're audible. Clearly audible. Please continue.
Yeah. Okay. Probably the bad network. So there was this case also in 2014, wherein somebody had started a campaign on Kickstarter, which was called Coolest Cooler, and it was promoted as a very high-tech cooler with features like Bluetooth speakers, USB charging ports, built-in blender, and they raised almost $13 million from more backers, and it was one of the most successful crowdfunding campaign. Despite this huge funding, the backers never received their coolers which were promised to them. The company faced very, they told that we are facing some kind of production issues or something, some or the other problem, and the company just vanished somewhere in 2019, and then they were nowhere to be reached. So such instances are very common, and in my professional opinion, it is very easy to fool people to get funds and then show that the company is not able to perform because of some or the other reason, and then divert those funds. It is like a very common practice which is done by many organizations, which is very wrong, because when you are doing it from a crowdfunding perspective, it is very innocent investors that you would be fooling. So I think this is my very little bit. What you can do is, when you are, if you, as I said, my few minutes that I'll be speaking will be only about for the investors. So whenever you are actually planning to invest, you should always look for something. The red flags that you can observe are that there is some discrepancies in the information. The information is not very clear. It is not very transparent. The company has not been into existence for very long, and then the founders or the promoters, you have never heard of them, or you can't even look them up. Something of this pops up, so you should be more careful. Other than that, if some entity is promising you results which are like दो एक महीने में पैसा triple and all these kinds of, which are near impossible kind of promises, if somebody is doing, you should be again more careful, because such things never really happen. You should also look for if somebody's talking about some kind of a product, so they have some kind of a prototype. Is there some evidence of their existence? Or even if they are promoting some kind of a scientific research, is there some evidence of what they are talking about? Can it be real, what such people are talking about? Of course, they will hide behind confidentiality and trade secret kind of bullshit, but this is something that you have to look into. And so these are the few things. And I said, as I said, there is very little I can contribute in this session. But okay, still, thank you very much for inviting me, and I hope whatever I said could be useful. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with us, Bharatji. I would like to request you to share your email ID, chat box, for any queries that our audience might have. And your case study was extremely useful to just help you note it down. Sure.
Right, sir.
So moving ahead, I would like to invite Dr. Dharmendra Varshney to join us and share his insights with all of us. Now, Dharmendra ji, if I'm audible. Dharmendra ji, you are not audible clearly. So you can just check out your audio. Okay. I guess Dharmendra ji having a network issue, as I am having all at the same time. I guess by the time Dharmendra ji, am I audible? You're not audible clearly. You can just check the audio once, Dharmendra ji.
I would suggest Dharmendra ji, you should rejoin. Your audio is not connected. So while muting and unmuting, it is not activated.
Sure. Network issues are becoming quite common nowadays. Yeah. Yeah, Dharmendra ji, you're audible now, I guess.
Now I'm audible?
Yeah, you're audible. Excellent.
Okay. First of all, thank you very much for SK Associates for giving the opportunity to interact with intellectual peoples like you. And today's my topic is marketing campaign for crowdfunding, because I'm the person of marketing. So I find a topic which is given to me by SK and Associate. So I find a suitable topic. So This is my topic, that is marketing campaign for crowdfunding. How to market your campaign basically to different audience or different viewers, so that you can find out the sources for funds, right, sir? So the first step to learn about the options available, right, sir? The first option is what are the options you have, like you have supporters, your funding internet websites, your social websites, person from your social website, etc., right? Take some time to visit 3 or 10 crowdfunding sites. Write down the pros and cons, because every crowdfunding website has a pros and cons. Some are specialized in giving the funds in music and video filmmaking, etc., and some are perfectly right for you for education events, etc., right? So you have to find out about 3 to 10. I have about 70 website wherein I can find out a number of funds from different occasions, right? So clearly what you like and what you don't like, find out, and you make a chart. First, left hand side pros and right hand side cons, right? And what you feel neutral about. Some informations are neutrals. Figure out what serves your need and what does not. And there are many platforms like Kickstarter, like Indiegogo, like Fundraiser, Ululu, Crowdfunder, etc. Here, lot of websites on the internet, and I have about more than 70 websites, wherein you can apply for your campaign, and so that you can find out your funds, right? So now that you have chosen your campaign platform, it's time to start planting the marketing seeds that will create your crowdfunding success. So I understood, uh, I understand you are probably focused on raising capital and excited at the prospect of finally having the money you need to do your work properly and weave reliable stories in your presentation using narratives that make you masses memorable and impactful, right? You can take the help from your chartered accountant, so that whether your project is feasible or not, you can contact with the technical expert, whether it is a technically sound or not, right? Depending on your projects you're looking for, right? Many of us, many raised to believe that promoting ourselves promoting ourselves is wrong. Sometimes, sometimes you feel we are beggar. Should we believe we are beggar? So it is not surprising that so many good people is struggling with marketing. Promoting yourself is not about begging. Use live posts or surveys to gather audience opinions, promoting engagement and making sure that audience feel involved. Promoting yourself is about letting people know about the amazing gifts you bring to the world, so that if they need those gifts or know someone that needs those gifts, you can reach them, right? Sometimes uh, you कभी कभी फोन आता है कि मेरे पास भी आता है कि यार मेरे हम ये डोनेशन से बोल रहे हैं, एक लड़की कैंसर से है और वो मर रही है, उसके लिए आप डोनेट कर दो, एम आई राइट? लेकिन आप नहीं करते हो। समटाइम्स आप कर लेते हो, लेकिन मैं नहीं करता हूँ, क्योंकि जब तक रिलायबल और जब तक इंफॉर्मेशन, इंपॉर्टेंट इंफॉर्मेशन और रिलायबल सोर्स नहीं मिलेगा, तब तक आई कैन नॉट डोनेट द डोनेशन। एम आई राइट और रॉन्ग?
Exactly.
Exactly, right? So crowdfunding, when it is done well, it speaks to a person heart. Traditional marketing has always been focused on grabbing people's attention and convincing them that they need what you are offering, right? That is a traditional marketing, right? We have two groups. One is, supporting or cheerleader, and another is affiliated business or causes. Sometimes it is called as affiliated marketing, right? So we have three sources. One is person on networking, second is supporter or cheer leaders, and third one is affiliating marketing, right, sir? There are three sources where we can send our campaign for crowdfunding. Clear, sir? तो देयर फर्स्ट सपोर्टिंग पे आते हैं, सपोर्टर्स और चीयर लीडर्स. तो देयर आर पीपल्स इन योर लाइफ who will never want or use what you are creating, but they love and care about you. You are a caring, giving person and have helped others in the past. है ना? कैसे भी आपने किया होगा, हेल्प किया होगा. जरूरी नहीं है कि कैपिटल से किया होगा. समटाइम्स यू ऑब्लाइज by giving your PPT or giving your support in terms of your information. Sometimes you become a specialized or a special person for them and you are giving them some information, right? So you are a caring side. Those people want to return the favor. Supporters, they are supporters who want to return the favor, and I call these people your supporters or cheerleaders, right? There are also groups of person who don't necessarily knows you but have some affiliation to what you do. जैसे आप ही हो मेरे, आप affiliation में, आप मेरे को नहीं जानते हो, right? But you are affiliated to me because of SK Associates, right? Like Shravan Kumar and Priyashi, Nikhil Shukla, Triman Singh, Kajal, Bis, etc. They are affiliated to me, है ना? So you can rely me. I am the professor and director of the institute, and I am giving the speech in front of you, right? Or a speech like a conversation with you people. So you all are affiliated to me, and if I am doing this marketing, that is called affiliated marketing, right? Clear, sir? So when you launch campaign, you will have an obvious focus, which is your buyer benefiters. Your buyer benefiters are your target customers. जैसे marketing में होता है, first you have to find out your target customer. क्योंकि मुझे क्या चाहिए? Fund चाहिए ना? Fund चाहिए, right? I need the fund. Second is the people you are test marketing to, if applicable. Sometimes ऐसा भी होता है कि मैंने अपना campaign बनाया, लेकिन अभी वो रिलायबिलिटी उसमें ऐड करना है या क्या डिलीट करना है, क्या ऐड करना है, क्या डिलीट करना है, उसके लिए मैंने टेस्ट मार्केटिंग करी, राइट? एवरीबडी नोज अबाउट द टेस्ट मार्केटिंग, राइट? एंड द लार्जेस्ट नंबर ऑफ contributor. Third one is largest number of contributor. You can find out the different sources, as I told you earlier, from supporter or from affiliated marketing or your direct personal network, right? It should be fairly simple to identify buyers or benefiters. These people are reason you to what you do. If you are building a computer application, these are the people that would use the application, right? If you are creating a piece of art, these are the people that would want to see that art or buy. If you are creating an event, these are the people that would attend it, है ना? Right? जैसे हम लोग इंटरनेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस भी करते हैं. मैं आपको बहुत अच्छा एग्जांपल दे रहा हूँ. इंटरनेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस करते हैं या नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस करते हैं, तो हम क्या करते हैं, फीस डिसाइड कर देते हैं ना, राइट. I believe कि some of you are in institution or university, right? Am I right or wrong? ठीक है,
Exactly.
है ना. तो आप लोग क्या करते हो, आप लोग वो तो पेमेंट होता है अटेंड करने का या कॉन्फ्रेंस अटेंड करने का, लेकिन यदि सपोज करिए कि मेरे को नहीं फीस चार्ज नहीं करनी है, तो मैं क्या करूंगा इसके कि आई एम कंडक्टिंग ए इंटरनेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस ऑन टॉपिक XYZ, ठीक है, आई नीड योर हेल्प. तो क्या होता है कि स्पॉन्सर भी मिल जाते हैं हमको कुछ. तो स्पॉन्सर भी क्या है, एक तरह से क्राउड फंडर ही है. यदि मैं बिलीव करूं, यदि एक एग्जांपल दूं, तो वो क्या है, क्राउड फंडर ही है. कि हमें क्या किया, उसने स्पॉन्सर्ड कर दिया. और स्पॉन्सर्ड करने में हमने क्या किया भाई, उन्होंने स्पॉन्सर्ड किया तो मैंने क्या किया, उनका डिस्प्ले कर दिया, कुछ कुछ मैंने बोर्ड उनके डिस्प्ले कर दिए. एक उनका बाहर मैंने कॉन्फ्रेंस हॉल के बाहर एक मैंने स्टूल और चेयर दे दिया उनको, और वो एक एग्जीक्यूटिव बैठा, वो मार्केटिंग कर रहा है हमारा. राइट. तो हम कहां से आप कर सकते हैं. नाउ we want to decide where your potential contributor and supporter are hanging out, so you can start spending time with them. So first one is social media. हम कहां से कर सकते हैं social media. Now these are the tools: social media, in person or on blogs. Am I right? So now social media, everybody knows about the social media. Na? I have about more than 30,000 connection in LinkedIn and about 5,000 in Facebook, right? So I can reach out the people, who can give the fund for my project or my campaign, right? तो हम लोग जनरली क्या करते हैं, campaign एक क्या कर दिया हमने, टैग कर दिया सोशल साइट पे, और उसमें एक काम करना है हमको, क्योंकि हमें एक, या तो आप एक एक्सेल शीट बना लीजिए या एक पेपर बना लीजिए, पेपर पे लिख लीजिए कि हमने कहाँ कौन कौन सी सोशल साइट पे हमने अपना कैंपेन फ्लो किया है, और उस फ्लो के बाद हमें कितने रेस्पॉन्सेज आ रहे हैं, है ना. ये हमें सब पेपर पे करना होगा, राइट. The way to slow up on social media is to be present on the social media platform that your potential contributor and supporter visit most often, and you may find that your group spend time on multiple social media platforms. Just know that you can't be everywhere all the time, so don't try to be and pick 1, 2 or 3 social media, है ना. आप हर जगह एक साथ नहीं रह सकते. इसके लिए हमें क्या करना होगा, हम 2 और 3 सोशल मीडिया को ही चूज करें, है ना, जिसपे हम उस पे भी हम रिसर्च कर सकते हैं कि कौन सा सोशल मीडिया जो कि सबसे ज्यादा हमारा ट्रैफिक रहता है, राइट. सबसे ज्यादा ट्रैफिक वहां रहता है ना. एवरीबडी नोज अबाउट द ट्रैफिक, है ना. मैं इतना पुराना हो गया, मेरे सामने इंटरनेट आया तो मुझे तो मालूम ही नहीं था ट्रैफिक के बारे में. जब डिजिटल मार्केटिंग के बारे में स्टडी किया तो मुझे मालूम पड़ा कि यार ट्रैफिक भी होता है इंटरनेट पर, राइट. मैं तो वैसा ट्रैफिक समझता था. चलिए, तो pick up 2 or 3 social platform like Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, etc. है ना. इसमें से आप 2 or 3 चूज कर लीजिए, राइट. And develop a strong presence there. While you are there, show appreciation for your potential contributor and supporter. Do this by retweeting, sharing, repinning, and liking whatever it is that you like. It's important to be authentic in the process and don't do anything that does not feel true to you. Spend 15 or 20 minutes for every website for every day. Am I right? And do this every day on sites, right, where your campaign floated. Next one is blogs. Bloggers are quite influential to their loyal.
Excuse me, Dharmendra ji. I would like to request you to wrap it up in 2 minutes since we have a time constraint.
Okay. So there are blogs
Sure.
where you can send your campaign, and again, I'm giving the 15 or 20 minutes daily. You can find out who are supporting your campaign or who are interested for your campaign, right? And last one is in person or power networking or in person. You can find a lot of people with the help of your chartered accountant, with the help of your teacher, with the help of your neighbors, with the help of your parents. Networking, you can find a lot people who can give the funds for your projects. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ramendra for your amazing and informative speech. Please do share your email address in the chat box for any queries that our attendees might have.
Okay,
I would
thank
also
you.
like to request all the audience to kindly connect directly with Dr. Varshne in case of any queries.
Okay, thank you.
Further moving ahead, I would like to request our next speaker, CMA Mukesh Bhatterji, to commence his speech and share his insights with all of us.
Hello, am I audible? Great. Thank you, Shravan. Well, being the second last speaker or last speaker make the thing easier because majority of the stuffs are being discussed. So I will not repeat the stuffs. I will coldly discuss upon the regulation part. We are talking about crowdfunding. Is it what is the regulatory part? What are the regulatory part that need to be taken care of? So, firstly, to start with, is it legal at all? कि क्या ये legal भी है? So the legality of this depend upon the type of crowdfunding we are talking about. So basically 3 से 4 भागों में अपने इसको डिवाइड कर सकते हैं. Whether it is donation based पे मिलाप, कीटो, इम्पैक्ट गुरु इन सब से अपने पास कॉल आते हैं. They are donation based. Simply they majorly work upon the medical emergency वाले जो रहते हैं, जिस तरह से धर्मेंद्र जी भी बता रहे थे. So they are doing really wonderful job. The next is reward-based startups, reward-based crowdfunding, whereas the startups tell you ki you crowdfund us and in return we will give you certain discounts or whatsoever. The next is debt-based. Debt-based is majorly into peer-to-peer lending. And the last is equity-based funding. So donation-based and reward funding does not require much of regulation, but debt-based crowdfunding is regulated by RBI, as Mr. Bharat have also indicated that it require NBFC licensing and it is regulated by RBI. And now coming to the startup, जो startup को सबसे ज़्यादा चाहिए equity-based funding. Currently, इंडिया में approximately 1,40,000 से ज़्यादा startups है. About many problems, one of the major problems जो startups face करते हैं, that is fundraising. And to greater extent, crowdfunding have helped startups in US, UK, China to come out of this fundraising problem. But in India, the fundraising in equity mode is very much restricted. So we need to understand the regularity कि भाई रेगुलेशन में हुआ क्या था. सेबी ने क्राउड बेस्ड ये अपना इक्विटी बेस्ड क्राउड फंडिंग पे एक कंसल्टेशन पेपर लाया था 2014 पे 2014. ठीक है, उसमें उन्होंने सर्टेन गाइडलाइंस दिए थे कि what are the restrictions we are putting upon. In that, they have itself mentioned that more than 10 CR cannot be raised, and only certain type of investor or backers can get into this space. Majorly they would be QIB, HNI, और रिटेल के लिए बहुत लिमिटेड स्कोप था उसमें. 60,000 से ज्यादा का इन्वेस्टमेंट नहीं हो सकता है. So these are all regulation part that need to be taken care of. Majorly SEBI is protecting the investors. जैसे कि भरत जी ने कहा कि we are into SEBI is taking care कि so that बड़ा protective environment रहे, investors do not get cheated, because previously ऐसा हुआ भी बहुत बार है. मेजरली सहारा स्कैम में यही हुआ था कि रेगुलेशन 42 कंपनीज एक्ट का रेगुलेशन 42 को इंटरविन करते हुए more than 3 करोड़ इन्वेस्टर्स को उनके यूनिट दे दिए गए थे. ठीक है। सिमिलर काइंड ऑफ अभी हरियाणा एनसीएलटी ने भी टाइक इन्वेस्ट बोल के एक प्लेटफॉर्म है, उसे बैन किया है, ठीक है, बिकॉज दे हैव रेजिंग फंड्स जो सेबी नियमों के अधीन नहीं थे। सो टू रेज फंड्स थ्रू इक्विटी, सेबी के गाइडलाइंस एंड कंपनीज एक्ट के गाइडलाइंस वी नीड टू फॉलो, ठीक है। वी स्टेट दैट दो रूल्स इसमें मेजर आते हैं। वन इज प्राइवेट प्लेसमेंट वाला रूल, वी स्टेट दैट कि भाई मोर देन 50 पीपल को आप प्राइवेट प्लेसमेंट दे नहीं सकते हो। सो दिस इज वन ऑफ द मेजर कंस्ट्रेंट। एंड द सेकेंड पार्ट इज, अगर 200 पीपल से ज्यादा अगर आपके मेंबर बन जाते हैं तो यू बिकम अ लिस्टेड दिस पब्लिक लिमिटेड, rather than private limited you become a public limited। तो ये दो बहुत बड़े कंस्ट्रेंट है दैट नीड टू बी टेकन केयर। अगर ये दो कंस्ट्रेंट रहेंगे तो स्टार्टअप्स के लिए इक्विटी बेस्ड फंडिंग उठाना विल बी रियली अ चैलेंजिंग टास्क। अपार्ट फ्रॉम इट देयर आर लॉट ऑफ कंसल्टेशन पेपर में उन्होंने डॉक्यूमेंट्री रिक्वायरमेंट भी बताई थी कि उन्हें फुलफिल करनी पड़ेगी, विच इंडिकेट्स द ऑडिटेड फाइनेंशियल्स, फंड्स कहाँ जा रहा है, उसके मैनेजमेंट डिटेल्स, फंड्स की यूजेस क्या होगी, बिजनेस प्लान्स, ये सारी चीजें उन्होंने दी थी। बट अगेन दे हैव नॉट फॉर्मुलेटेड इट, दे हैव नॉट फाइनलाइज्ड इट। सो अंटिल अनलेस ये चीजें फाइनलाइज नहीं होती है, क्राउड उठाना, इक्विटी बेस्ड क्राउड फंडिंग उठाना फॉर स्टार्टअप इज अ चैलेंजिंग टास्क। एंड विद दिस वी नीड टू वेट कि गोइंग अहेड क्या होता है, ठीक है। until unless वो regulations properly नहीं आते हैं, we should not wait for the crowdfunding method। crowdfunding में अगर आप social पे कुछ कर रहे हो तो it's great thing। SEBI have launched social stock exchange, you can register in that। social stock exchange है। अगर आप social cause पे अगर आप कुछ भी कर रहे हो, SDG goals से आपका कोई भी cause relate करता है, sustainability development goal, तो you can register in social stock exchange and raise fund। but equity based उठाने के लिए there is no such provisions, so we need to wait and watch। so अगर आप social space पे हो, go ahead, but if not you need to have a traditional approach। वही investors के पास जाइए, VCs के पास जाइए, and that's it from my end। so I will keep it short। Shravan?
Sure, Mukesh ji. Thank you for your speech and for enlightening us with those litigation parts, except obviously, because again, every one of us shares insights too.
Thank you, Shravan. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. First of all, I would apologize for not being able to turn on the cameras. I am actually commuting. So again, this is a Saturday night. All right. So coming back to the topic, I believe everything. I am great to see some smiling faces. I would request all to just keep smiling while you're listening. It is good for a speaker to just get a response from the audience itself. So we can see you. Apologies that you can't see me. If in case you are looking forward to see me or meet me, I have just shared my LinkedIn profile, and later on I'll be sharing my emails with you. Smart tactic taken by me for the marketing. So I'm a marketing guy, as introduced earlier. Starting off with the crowdfunding part, let me just share my screen with you all. Majorly every topic is covered, and it is a con of being a last speaker into this speech panel. So everything is almost covered, and I'll try to give you all new insights. That is what my agenda was. So crowdfunding, and especially its impact on Indian startups. Before beginning on any point, anything, I'll just want you all to focus on one thing. The first and foremost question is, what is a startup? This is very crucial, because without knowing what we have, we cannot just go and achieve success into the business. We should properly identify that are we a startup for which we are looking for crowdfunding. Although, just a disclaimer, I am a bootstrap guy, just like the fellow speaker from the Council India said. I just resonate with him. Absolutely, we both are of the opinion, and I believe I would speak for him as well. We are not of the notion that we love to have funding on board. But this platform is talking about funding, so we are giving you the insights on funding only. So, are you a startup? Look, we need a proper identification because if in case we are running a traditional business with just a digital presence, so we are not actually disrupting something or with some innovation. So this identification is absolutely necessary because it will let you build a brand story, which will eventually lead to crowdfunding. So brand story, which your marketing and finance team shall be using to propagate the results as you guys would be giving them, assuming you all are the founders. So startup has to be a disruptor. If not, then it is not a startup. It is just a business in itself. Right. So clarify first that is it a startup or a business? In case you're a regular business model, no, being a marketer myself, I can say just create a storyline how you can be a startup. It is required to become a startup for a crowdfunding part because it is go with the flow kind of a thing. It is just absolutely necessity of the market. We are attracted towards more startup. If I say that I have a traditional business, I'll be treated like a lala guy. But if I say I have a startup, I'm just doing anything that a regular business is doing, nothing apart from it. But yes, I get attention from a lot of people. So it is all about the appearance, how we just give out a brand story about our business. So now once this is achieved, coming back to the main storyline, the story of your brand is created. Let's dive in for the Indian startup ecosystem for a second now. So the Indian startup ecosystem, it is actually a fertile ground for startups right now, with cities like Bengaluru, Hyderabad, and Delhi emerging as startup hubs. So they are focused on startups, fostering them, giving them the environment that they require. So this ecosystem has witnessed exponential growth, fueled by the technological advancements and absolutely policy reforms. So with an increasing appetite for innovation, this is what you need to, just get a touch of. This is the river that you want to go with the flow. That's why it is important for you to get into the ecosystem. Whether you are doing a regular business, create a storyline that you're a startup. That would support you all. But currently, if we talk about it, there are more than 100 unicorns as on paper right now. I believe so they are. So India has cemented its place like we are one of the top startup ecosystems in the world. But funding remains a critical challenge for all the early stage ventures. We all would agree for this. If we all go out into the market, we would not get funds easily, whether it's your traditional ways of raising funds or whether we are talking about the crowdfunding. So as soon as we talk about the funding, we land into our comfort zone of the today's topic, crowdfunding. Much explanation is not required about crowdfunding. In simpler terms, we can just simply say funding raised by crowd, right? As simple as that. But it is not that easy, as simple it is to say. It moreover feel like begging. So when I say begging, let's take an example of beggar community itself. No harsh feelings for anyone. Just try to understand my point. I'll try my best to explain it further. Beggar community is working on this similar crowdfunding pattern, but without any return of financial benefit given to you guys. Right? So they want you to invest into their lifestyle so they can have a happy lifestyle. This is a very simple example of crowdfunding. Now to take it more intricate level, let's assume a beggar is now offering you a stagnant return on your investment. So he's saying like invest 1 lakh on me and I'll give you 10% per month. Now the storyline has changed. It is not a beggar, but would you invest into him? Anyone coming up to your car and just knocking on the window and saying, sir, give me 1 lakh and I'll give you 10%. Would you do this transaction? There's return for you. There's everything for you. No. I hope that the answer is no, right? Yes, you would not, because there's no trust. The appearance is not creating a trust for you to invest, right? So this is a very simple example that teaches us two things. First, a trust. Second, appearance. So your brand should have an appearance which is very, very trustworthy for your audience. You can grab anyone. My fellow speakers have talked a lot about everything. So I'm not left out much to, provide my insights onto. That's why I'm not going on how it can be done, what you should do. I'm just letting you insights on the marketing tactics right now. Trust building is the number one source on any given platform. If your business is listed, you might not be able to raise funds. Not everyone becomes like Sahara. Just before me, someone just mentioned about Sahara. That's why I got it. So not everyone becomes Sahara, but there has been a lot of followers, those who have followed the same business patterns as Sahara did, but they were not able to achieve those heights. It is all about the appearance and the trust that you create. Currently in our country, crowdfunding is still at a very nascent stage, I would say, but it holds actually immense potential. So there are various platforms and they are getting traction also. But again, as many of our fellow speakers have said, the regulatory concerns are still there. But the startups are increasingly, turning towards the crowdfunding as a viable alternate to traditional funding methods, especially when they focus on a strong community-driven narrative. So this community driven narrative is actually not new. I would say this is, I would just ask you all, do you actually believe that we are the ones who have derived this concept of crowdfunding in this, today's stage or this era of 21st century? This is not new. This is very historical. So historically, if you dig deep into the histories, communities have always came together to solve problems collectively, and inclusively they have invested the finances. So think of the tribes or the villages pooling resources to set up water lines or building infrastructure to support their community itself. So one would set up the thing, others would invest into him, and they would give a benefit of being an investor. They would be able to, avail first come first service नहीं होगा उनके लिए. They would be able to reap more benefits out of the business. So this is a collective effort. That is what the modern crowdfunding is based on. Even if we take an example of, I just recall it, even in Indian villages, marriages were often crowdfunded. Like, can you believe that the entire village was obviously invited because they were involved into the marriage somehow, financially or maybe some resourcefulness, and this helped reduce the financial strain while fostering a sense of belongingness for the event that they were holding. These all are a very minute, examples of crowdfunding, we can say. So we can learn from these traditions by building communities around offerings of our companies, what we are trying to offer to a market. And actually, it is very dire need of the time that we should, or the startups today should shift their focus from seeking easy cash. It has been a very long journey. Again, I am not a very fond of raising funds, so I would say this: we always are, brought up with the mindset, just go for the easy funding, easy cash, just build up something, and some big player would come and just buy you out. No, be there for your market, be there for your investors, your stakeholders, your customers. So this actually making a strong product creates a loyal customer, and loyal customers forms the foundation of your crowdfunding success. At any given point, whether you are expanding your business, whether you are including new ventures, or maybe you are partnering with someone else, you can diversify because you have the base. So this is what I believe founders should strive to create, the communities that trust and support their business. So crowdfunding not only brings funds but also builds a customer base as well. No, if you see the religious cult right now that is there into the market, so they are all driven by this community building only. This is also a very great example. Apart from this, let's take another example that would be very relatable to all you new generation guys. Influencer community. So why this influencer community is growing day by day? We belong to the marketing tactics, so we know nobody creating a very specific reel about any e-commerce products from their home itself can make a very big brand go, just crazy about it. But why are big brands going for this influencer community? Every now and then we see any given person is becoming an influencer. Why? Because they are being treated as UGCs, user generated content. So the brand is focused on UGCs basically. They are not focused on influencers. Influencer is indirectly solving their UGC's problem. Now this UGC problem that now caters to the open audience as a crowdfunding, as a crowd for them, as a trust building player for them. So most e-com players are using this tactic today, and hence the evolution of influencer community is there. So this is the kind of impact that you can create once you have the crowd. So you can direct it towards your funding process as well, or you can direct it towards like these big brands have done for the UGC's part, and a whole new influencer community has derived out of it. So startup founders should focus on prioritizing the customer benefits. Whether you are a startup or you're known as a startup, that's why I'm mentioning again and again. The founders should focus on this. Imagine offering a customer with a financial advantage alongside your product or service. No, so I'm getting a product, and again I'm getting a financial service. That's why the cashback system in India was way good for any business. We still miss the cashback we receive of 2 or 3 rupees from initially the Paytm and the Amazons. Right. So that is the whole scenario. So, but again, if your initial identification of brand is not done rightly, you don't have the margins to keep up to these things. If you are actually a startup, you would not require these strategies to be implemented. But if you are actually a regular business with just a digital presence, you need all those activities to be inculcated. And that's why initially I said, identify yourself properly. Are you actually a startup or not? And again, for this, a best example is again Sahara Group. They created a massive community. If not, you have heard about them, just go and study them. Unfortunately, their financial mismanagement, as my fellow speaker said, I am not sound enough for the actual tactic terms about it, but yes, their financial mismanagement led to their downfall. This is true. But they started with nothing and they almost captured every district of India within themselves. This is great. This is huge. They actually created a cult, right? So if they ask a crore people to just give in 1 rupee, they have raised a crore. This is what you are talking about when you say crowdfunding. And crowdfunding actually thrives on the concept of creating a community. Like you can say that Netflix, Amazon, Swiggy, Zomato, what they have done, they have eventually just created all this as a community driven business only. Anyhow, if you plan to start your venture as just like what would you call it, a cloud kitchen, maybe you would just hop onto the ride of Swiggy and Zomato only. Why you would not plan on anything else? Why you would not plan on a website? Why you would not go for the traditional setups? They have created this. And if you want to order something, if you're a Zomato person, you have been fighting on Zomato. By this all have been very sound into the market, because people are not realizing that they have become the part of that community. And that is where Zomato and Swiggy are playing very, very finely. Flipkart, Amazon, this is the whole same deal. They have created extra. Now Zomato is charging just 10 rupees on every order. With just minor incremental increase of 3 rupees on every order, he is earning monthly 300 crores, something is the numbers that are being floated in the market. That is the kind of funding they get. Obviously, after arriving at a specific stage that they are, but that is what you guys can hop onto the ride. This is the best example for these things. So this is what the crowdfunding actually means. The startups that you're looking forward for, the platforms that are there, key, yes, we'll provide you with, you need to have your appearance. So don't go for it like, I have an idea and I'll just go out to the market, I'll pitch the idea. Don't pitch the idea. Deliver the product. Once you start delivering the product, the market will give you the funding. Why these IPOs are successful now for these unicorns? Because they have delivered the product, they have gained the trust of the market, their appearance is so good. This whole scenario is there. Obviously, the investors are there, there can be a lot of to and fro's for the questions part. But again, the learning is how the crowdfunding would have actually worked for them. So this is, at the end of the day, it is all about creating value and driving revenue. So you would never say that Elon Musk has passed the Bill Gates, so I'll stop using the Microsoft from nowadays. I'll not use anything of Microsoft. He has lost. You don't give a shit about it. You actually are focused on what services you are getting. You are paying to Elon Musk as well, indirectly as a consumer, and you are paying to Microsoft, Bill Gates as well. So it is not about who is where, what's their appearance. It is just about being a trust with the audience that you are trying to cater to. Be it very small, be it very precise, be it very targeted. So as the fellow speaker from Council India said, they were targeting universities and schools, right? That is the place that they want to cater to, na? Their target audience is there. You have to focus on your target audience only. So that is the whole scenario is. Hence the business, again, as I said, business should prioritize building robust ecosystem that would create the value for all the stakeholders. So I believe I have covered everything. Apart from this, what my team has given me is almost covered by anyone and everyone else.
Sure.
Things were insightful for everyone.
Exactly, Mr. Satija. Things were quite insightful, and your case on the Sahara Group was too. Thank you for your speech and for joining us today's session. I would like to request you to kindly share your email ID in the chat box so that if anyone has any queries, they can straight away reach out.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Now, as we come to the close of today's remarkable conference session, we would like to express our heartfelt appreciation to each and every one of you. The knowledge shared, the insights gained, and the connection made in this session have all contributed to the success of this event. We are truly grateful for all of your participation and especially the attendees. Your patience is acknowledged and appreciated. As we wrap up today's conference session, we kindly request all attendees and speakers to take a moment to provide your valuable feedback on Google reviews. And your input and thoughts are obviously highly appreciated as they will help us improve future events and continue delivering high quality conferences. Thank you all for your participation and for being a part of this remarkable conference session today. We look forward to your reviews and hope to see you all in the last and final session of Conference 3.9 tomorrow. Till then, have a great day, take care, and obviously keep dreaming.
You too. You
Thank
too.
you.